Welcome everybody! Finally my Q&A video is here. So it took me a lot of time. I don't know how often I've started again. As you can see, I'm out in the forest. I took the goats with me and also the dogs, and I don't know if this has been a really good idea because many animals can destroy a video super fast. But I want to try it and they really needed to get out, and so we are here. Yesterday I've also tried to capture the video. I went to the meadow of my cows. I went to the meadow of my cows and I've talked for an hour because I needed to answer the questions over and over again because I've been so nervous. And then I got home and wanted to edit it, and then I saw that just the wind disturbed the noise, so I couldn't use it. The first question is, where do I live? So I haven't mentioned that in my last video. I've said that I'm living in the middle of nowhere in Germany, and many people want to know where exactly I do live. So I can tell you I'm living in a pretty small village, and I'm living in the house of my parents, and the village is called Niedeck. And the closest town is Göttingen. Bleibst du hinter mir oder willst du jetzt woanders hin? The second question is, do I live alone? And many people want to know this, I think, because most of the time I look as if I'm alone on the photos, and when I'm taking photos I'm mostly alone, but I'm not living alone. As you can also see, I'm living together with many animals, and also I am not the only human who is living here. So I'm living in the house of my parents. I've got a little flat, and my parents and my siblings are my neighbors, and there are also two other families who are living there. If I do everything alone, and I can say for the all-day life, yes, I'm doing most of this stuff alone, so that's my work, and also it's all my responsibility. But if there are bigger projects, I sometimes have friends coming over who help me, and also my parents are supporting me from time to time, so I'm not completely alone in this, but most of the work I'm doing on my own, yes. Another question that I think is really important is, how many animals do I have? And I am living together with one cat, one dog, one duck, one chicken, 2 rabbits, 2 pigs, 3 goats, and 5 cows. And also my neighbors have animals, but I'm not responsible for them. But of course they're touching our lives, and you will also see them from time to time. We will move on. So another question is, what is my job, or what I'm earning my money with? And that question is huge because it is not easy to answer right now. So I'm a trained educator, and I've been working as a night watch in a children's home for 2 years until this summer. I quit it in the spring, and since midsummer I'm free from it. So I've done this because I felt that I haven't been in alignment with it. I felt like wasting my energy at a place where I just doesn't belong. So I quit it, and since then I'm working with many different small projects. I'm gonna share many of them, not all of them, because some of them are also offline, and not everybody who's involved in my projects want to be shared. So I'm not sharing everything, but some of them. And the next one I'm gonna share is my little jewelry collection. So in fact, I don't know really clearly how we're gonna survive the next few years. The only thing that I really know is that we will gonna be able to do this. One of the most asked questions is, how do I got the idea to build an animal sanctuary? And I got these questions in my life so super often, and I always don't really know how to answer, because saving animals is one of my biggest passions since I'm a really small child. I think since I'm maybe 3 or 4 years old, this has been always something that I've loved to do and where I've always given my best. And so it just came completely naturally. There haven't been this one day where I decided to just start running a sanctuary. The next question I think is one of my favorite one, and it is, what do I love the most about running an animal sanctuary? And I've needed to think a little bit about this because there are so many things that I really do love. But I think I got 3 points that I love the most. And the first point is the connection. I just really love to be connected with so many animals from so many different species, and this connection really is kind of deep. So being together with animals always is touching the deepest parts of my soul, and I really know that I've learned unconditional love from them. That does not mean that we are never arguing or something like this, but I always know that there's love. I just always know this, and this is such an incredible feeling, this deep connection, this deep love. I think there's nothing that worth more for me. And also, I'm a person who really loves to carry. I'm always a little bit, I'm not pretty sure if this is just good, because I've noticed that this also is a part of my ego who just want to feel like a good person. And sometimes I'm noticing that I don't take enough care for myself because I'm caring too much for others. So I'm not 100% sure if this is really good, but it's just a fact. I love to carry. And I really love that every single day in my life is different. It is just every day is special, and I'm not often get into this feeling of taking things for granted, because I really know how fast it can change, and I think that is a super important lesson. Needed to start again because the goats wanted to climb where I am. I love my animals. I love my animals. They are just a little bit crazy. I don't know why I got this idea of taking 3 goats and 2 dogs with me to capture this video. We will try to move on. I hope this question, I hope the answer is, one of the answers will fit. Oh, I need to start again so often. So, I've needed to find a new place because it wasn't possible to capture this video where I've been before. I don't know if this place really is better because now the goats can go around me on all my sides, but I know them. They mostly prefer to just go really close. So it is one super positive thing about goat that I can let you know. They will never ever run away from you. They are following me everywhere. I could go through hell with them. The negative side is, if I want to sit somewhere and capture a video, they all want to sit exactly at that point as well. So I've had a little bit of struggle, but now we're gonna try this here again. I don't know how many goats you can see, but there's one over me. Oh my goodness! I think if you have got 3 goats with you, there's no good place to capture a video. Yes, the next question is, and you can already see how to answer this, I think. So the next question is, who is taking my photos and my videos? And I can tell you, if I would have somebody who's taking my photos and my videos, I wouldn't have to struggle right now. But for me, it always have 2 sides. So I'm doing most of this stuff alone. I also have some friends who are amazing photographers, but they're not really often over here. So most of the time I'm alone. and it is really difficult. Sometimes it is really difficult because, especially with the animals, I need to do so many things at the same time, and wow, it is not so easy. And I don't have so super good equipment, so I don't have something that is, in German it is called Fernauslöser. So if I want to take a photo, I need to push the button, and then I have 10 seconds to go into the right position, and then the camera is taking the photo. But with animal, this is not working normally. It is just to take one photo that is looking well. I mostly take maybe 50 photos that are not so cool. But I love it. On the other hand, really, I love it because I love to be alone, especially when I'm doing creative things or emotional things. Because I just love it. I think it is difficult to communicate with other people if you're just in the flow. And I love this feeling of flow. And if I am on this flow, the best thing for me is being alone. So it has two sides, and right now I'm pretty happy with how it is. So now we get to the question that is, I think, the most asked question ever. Especially since my last video, I've got this question so often. I don't know how often it was, but it was really often. And I've stopped answering these messages, even if it feels kind of bad, but I thought I would answer it right here so that many of you can see it. I don't need to explain it to every single one. So the question is, can I come and visit you? And I have to say, always when I got this question, I feel happy because I think it is a huge compliment. So I feel that you're so interested in us, and many people of you want to help us, and I think it is amazing. But also it made me kind of sad because it is just, so not everybody who's living here likes to have strangers visiting us on a regular basis. Not every animal, not every human, and also not me. So I've done this for many times, and it has always been worth it. I've met many kind and wonderful people, and some already became really close friends. But I also noticed that it is really energy consuming, and I will never be completely close to that, but I can't do it on a regular basis, especially not right now, maybe in the future. But it is just so sad because I also don't want to miss the opportunity to meet you. I think it is so, this is the reason why I'm doing all this stuff, because I want to get in contact, but I can't invite you all. I can't do it. Why do I talk English? I think this question I'm gonna answer in German because I think just German people has asked me that. Also ich habe ganz oft jetzt auch die Frage bekommen, warum ich Englisch spreche. Und ob ich nicht auf Deutsch umschwenken kann wieder oder ob ich nicht Untertitel machen kann. Und ich wollte darauf einfach nochmal kurz antworten. Also ich weiß, dass manche Menschen dadurch, dass ich eben Englisch spreche, ausgegrenzt werden, weil sie es einfach nicht so gut verstehen. Das ist natürlich nicht meine Intention, aber es passiert einfach. Ich weiß aber auch, dass es bei jeder Sprache so ist, egal welche Sprache ich spreche. Und ich glaube, dass ich bei Englisch am wenigsten Menschen ausgrenze und am meisten Menschen erreichen kann. Und das ist einfach mein Ziel, und deswegen fühlt sich das für mich richtig an. Untertitel habe ich bisher noch nicht. Wanda, hör auf. Danke. Untertitel habe ich bisher noch nicht, weil ich bisher noch keine Möglichkeit gefunden habe, die mich nicht wirklich viel Zeit kosten würde. Aber ich bin da dran, und wenn ich die Möglichkeit finde und das irgendwie alles verstanden habe, ich bin auch mit Technik eigentlich nicht so bewandert. Das ist für mich alles noch ganz neu, so, ne? Und wenn ich das alles, wenn ich das irgendwie eine Möglichkeit habe, dann werde ich das auf jeden Fall möglich machen. Und was ich auf jeden Fall nochmal sagen möchte, für alle, die es nicht wissen, mein Blog ist auf Deutsch. Da gibt es auch jetzt wollte ich auf Englisch das sagen, da gibt es auch einen Übersetzer auf der Seite, und man kann es eigentlich in jede Sprache übersetzen lassen, aber er ist auf Deutsch, und ich denke, dabei wird es auch bleiben, und ich glaube, der Blog ist eigentlich der Teil, der am persönlichsten ist, und ja, also vielleicht habt ihr ja Lust, da mal vorbeizuschauen. Und was ich auch noch sagen wollte, vielleicht auch einfach als kleine Erinnerung, also ich glaube, in dem, was ich produziere, ist das, was ich sage, eigentlich nur ein ganz, ganz kleiner Teil. Also das ist natürlich, ich sage das, weil ich das irgendwie wichtig finde oder gerne sagen möchte, aber das Allerwichtigste sind die Fotos und die Videos und das, was die Tiere sagen. Und ich glaube, das kann jeder verstehen, egal welche Sprache wir sprechen. So now we finally get to the last question, and honestly it is the one that I feel the less comfortable with. At the beginning I thought I don't want to answer it, but then I thought I think it could be important, and I also want to speak my own truths, and I want to do it from the beginning. And so I will answer it right now. And the question is, am I vegan? And I feel uncomfortable with this question because I feel like no matter what I say, there will be people who don't understand it and who don't like it. But I think I need to be okay with this. And in fact, I am not vegan, but I am definitely plant-based. So I think I need to explain this a little. I grew up as a vegetarian. I've been eating meat for a couple of times during the kindergarten or when I've been visiting other people, but as soon as I've understood completely what I was doing, I've stopped it. That has been as I've been 8 years old. And when I've been 17, I started to eat a vegan diet, and I've been pretty straight for around 2 years. But then I've started to find my own personal way. I've stopped putting myself into these borders who make not always sense to me. For example, I'm wearing a lot of wool because it's just the best product to keep warm when you're outside and it is cold. And I'm outside for many hours every day, and I doesn't find anything that is as good as wool. That is the reason why I'm using it, but I'm not buying it, or if I'm buying it secondhand. And every single one of my clothes I wear until it is just until it is falling into pieces. So I really do use this. And so another example what I'm thinking about is it better to bake a cake with bananas who have been growing in a completely other country, of the other side of the world, under circumstances that I don't know, and who need to travel so far to come here? Or is it better to bake a cake with eggs from the chickens of my parents, where I know that they have as much freedom as possible because we don't have any fence, where I know that not a single chicken is getting slaughtered just because it's not laying enough eggs, and where I also know that not every egg should become a new chicken because we already have enough. So for me, these questions are not easy to answer. It's not easy to answer if it's right to wear wool. It's not easy to answer if it's right to eat these eggs or eat this banana. And I think that is my point. I think we need to get more aware of these questions, and I think we really need to be sensitive, and we need to be ready to change our perspective and choose new ways. But we don't need to just follow straight dogmas. I think you name it like this. So we don't need to say I'm vegan and then you are not allowed to consume anything who has anything to do with an animal ever again, because this also doesn't work. So I don't believe in a world without cruelty. I don't believe that. I know that also for a vegan diet, there need animals to die. I think many people don't even know that. But if you're eating grapes, for example, there are on this farm where the grapes are growing, maybe there have been someone who has been shooting the raccoons because raccoons would steal the grapes. And it is just, these questions are not so easy to answer, and I think we can't see the world in black or white. So we can, but then I don't think that we will find the right solution. I think the world is colorful, and we need to see all colors, and we need to respect the colors that other people see. And I truly believe that every opinion has its own reason to be. And I also trust that nobody on this world want to be a bad person. Just everybody is doing his or her best. So I think we really do need a change, but I'm not somebody who would say that I know how this change look like. I just know that we really need to stick together. And I don't have a solution to every problem. I'm really not. I haven't figured out it all, but I think maybe I've got some inspiration. And also, I'm not just me. I'm also here with many animals, and I want to give them the opportunity to speak as well. And I'm so thankful that you are listening.